Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Fran, I'm from Venezuela, and today we're going to be reacting to a video called Dating in Australia. Watch this first. No idea what this is about. Maybe it's a man that, an Australian man that is going to give us some tips, or he's going to teach us how dating is different in Australia. And I don't know how different can it be. Maybe it's a difference because like words mean something else there. I don't know. So let's check it out. And don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe. So, I'm hitting play.
G'day you mob, back here again for another reaction video. Today I am reacting to Adlikey Down Under. She has a YouTube channel, go check her out. And this video is about dating online in Australia. A whole bunch of you have been asking me about dating.
And it's dating specifically online, so not, like meeting people the old-fashioned way.
Tips, so what do I know? Let's hear it from someone who has experienced it. Anyway, let's go.
Hi there lovely people, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. For those who are joining us for the first time, you're most welcome. My name is Adlike and I talk about different lifestyle issues, and at this point of my life I'm getting a little bit passionate about dating. So today we're going to be talking about things I learned about online dating in Australia. And well, before I got married, I had a fair bit of playing around with the dating apps, and some of the dating apps I've used is Bumble. I quite like it because the girl has to make the first move, so if you're confident, at least you can use Bumble.
Yeah, Bumble is quite, and it's popular I think in a lot of places all over the world, so it's not just an Australian thing. But I think Bumble is seen as maybe a little more serious than Tinder. I don't know, I think that's, the perception that I have.
There's obviously a whole bunch of different apps that you can use in Australia. Tinder's probably the most famous or infamous nowadays. I haven't been on this, obviously. Having been married myself a few years ago, I haven't been on this for 4, 5 years maybe. There's Bumble. There are quite a few, but Bumble's an interesting one because I think you do the swiping like Tinder, but the woman has to make the first move where she'll be the one who responds to the like, and if you both obviously like each other, you can chat. Tinder, on the other hand, you both have to swipe right for one another to communicate. But yeah, there's a whole bunch of apps. Use them. Try them out. If they work for you, good. If they don't, don't.
There's also Tinder, but I know now Tinder has a bad rep for just being a hookup site.
Yeah, with Tinder, I think you're going to get out of it.
Yeah, but I have to say that I know that Tinder does have that rep these days, but I actually know people that have actually gotten married after, they've met on Tinder and they ended up marrying. So, not always. I think it's like everything. You just have to try it out and see, what you have. But it's not always. But I know that it's mostly like a hookup app. But people have actually gotten married through Tinder. So
that makes sense. So if you are looking for just hooking up with people, you can obviously use it that way. If on the other hand you are looking to meet people and eventually have a relationship,
no question about it, I am ready to get hurt again
with a man or a woman, whatever it is, then you can also use it for that too. That's what I was doing when I was using it. I never really used it. In fact, I never used it for just hooking up with randoms. It was much more about getting
hooking up with randoms, which is totally valid. But like I said, it really does depend because there's not like it's famous for that, but not necessarily. People use it for a lot of different things. I even heard of people using Bumble for friends. So, like, you just have to try it out and see.
The people that I would never actually come across in real life, and then if I clicked with them when chatting with them, I would be like, oh, do you want to get coffee, or do you want to go out to this restaurant or something, and then see how it goes and keep dating if it goes well. Obviously it didn't go that well though, because I met my wife through YouTube and not through Tinder.
Also really
so I'm sorry, but it's like so maybe not that good. So maybe Tinder is not that good because this guy is like, I ended up meeting my wife through like YouTube. So not always. And there's like, it goes to show you, no, I'm kidding, but it goes to show you like there's something for everyone actually.
Zook and I think eHarmony, they are quite good. So there are so many dating sites, and sometimes it can get
eHarmony, I think that's like a very like old app. I haven't heard of people like using that, at least like younger people. I don't know, I think at least the rep that it has is that something that maybe older people used back in the day. I don't know. I think that's, I don't know what I think.
Using on how to go about your dating or online dating experience. So today I'm going to be sharing things that I learned, and the first one is that the competition is so high.
There's a lot of competition in town.
Can you imagine?
Competition? Like, it's not a sport. What?
World whereby a guy has so many girls. It's like a whole catalog of girls to choose from.
See, this is funny. I'm gonna take Adlaki here to sort of
I'm gonna guess that he's gonna be like, it's the opposite actually. There's like, I'm competing, like him as a man, he's probably gonna be like, I'm competing for the attention of like, I'm competing because it's just like the woman. And I think that for guys, it's probably going to be like the opposite. They're going to be like, I'm competing for attention, and there's like 1,000 guys and like 5 women. So he's probably going to be like, it's the opposite actually. But it's quite weird. I don't know. Like, she's like, it's a competition. It's a tough competition. I don't know. It's not a sport, but I don't know. Like real life, that's real life, right? Like there's gonna be like a limited amount of men and a limited amount of women.
A little bit. For me, when I was using Tinder, it seemed like it was much more that the girls were the sharks, if you will, and the guys were kind of the fish.
Because I think for men, they're gonna, like, each gender, it's gonna be thinking like it's the opposite. Like, no, we're actually competing. Like the competition is like very strong. But each gender is gonna be thinking that it's not like just women or just men. Like, they're both gonna be thinking the same thing.
We were the ones who, by and large, guys have, I think if you go in and look at the actual science of people who've studied these
like
apps and men and their standards, women and their standards, men are much more likely to swipe right and say the average woman is attractive, whereas the average woman is, I think she's likely to say that 80% of men are below.
I think it's different. I think probably most women, I don't know, I would like to see a study, because I think it's the opposite, and more women are going to be like, yeah, that guy's attractive. Well, most men are probably going to be like, no, she doesn't really fit my standards. And only like, I don't know, 2% of women fit their standards on dating apps.
Average attractiveness. So it is really interesting, but I always felt like it was the woman's choice, effectively, that she had guys just swiping right all the time. Men were swiping right to everyone, and the woman could effectively choose. So it's interesting that Adlaki here thinks that each
gender is going to be thinking
of choices for her, for guys, and that there were a lot of competition. But never dated guys, so what do I know?
So it's crazy. So you have to really put your best foot forward, and this is just based on your photo. They get to judge you based on your photo. So make sure you have a photo that you look so bomb.
He is so hot.
I've noticed most
of the obviously, like, good tip, choose a picture that looks good and that you're on your own, you're not with a group. That's a good tip.
Girls are the ones that are showing their personality in their photos. So if you're bubbly, make sure you're laughing. If you like nature, you're out there in nature, and just bring out your best personality with the photo, because unfortunately, whether we like it or not, we're being judged on our photo.
That's life though, right, guys? I mean,
it sucks, but yeah, it's the first impression. It's gonna be like, I'm not attracted to this person, and sadly, it's like that. If you're not attracted physically to the person, with a photo, like, it's not gonna, go forward. So sadly, it's like that. It's the downside of using those apps, because in real life, maybe at first you're not attracted to someone, but when you get to know them, an attraction forms, and you're like, actually, I really like this person. And otherwise, I really wouldn't have looked at twice. But on dating apps, it's hard because it's very like appearance based. And if someone doesn't really like call your eye, you're just gonna be like, no, I don't like this guy. But in real life, maybe he might have had a shot. So it's the downside.
Time you're dating, in the dating world, everyone's judging everyone based on everything that they do. You're trying to discern, you're trying to work out if someone is the right match for you, whether that's physically, emotionally, intellectually, monetarily, or whatever it is. We're judging each other constantly until we sort of get enough ticks and enough boxes, and we're like, yeah, this person ticks enough boxes for me and is the right person. But It is interesting. I remember hearing from a few of my friends. It was a friend in Queensland. She sent all of these images from guys on Tinder, I think, who were all holding fish. She's just like, what the f is with everyone holding fish in these photos? So there do tend to be these stereotypes where guys, at least I remember hearing about this and seeing these photos, that they'll hold up fish, they'll be in singlets, they'll be holding beers, they'll be out
I
with
think
them.
that's in the US, I think that's very common for like a very specific type of guy, like with the Bass Pro Shops hat, and very I don't know, I want to say Texas, but not Texas, maybe from the South. They're like very into fishing, and it's weird, obviously, but yeah, like he said, it's like a stereotype of like a very specific type of man. And then I don't know, they probably are thinking like, hey, I'm a catch, get it? Like I have a catch and I'm a catch. Maybe it's not that deep, but
Mates. So it is interesting how we signal this way using photos on these apps. And for women, obviously, a lot of the time, for me at least, it was always
Selfies.
women out clubbing with their girlfriends at the beach in a bikini, with drinks in their hands, doing all this sort of stuff. For what it's worth, my 2 cents would be, yeah, as I'd like he says, use the photos to tell a story about your personality, but more than just, hey, I look sexy in this dress. I mean, obviously you've got to show your appearance a little bit. You don't want to show up to a date and someone be like, whoa, you're completely different from what your photos suggested.
Not who I thought you were.
Oh yeah, they were taken 10 years ago. Sorry about that. But you do want to show a bit about, are you into cars? Do you like nature? As she said, do you, like going to the gym? But you have to do it in a kind of tactful way, right? If you're a guy and you just
yeah,
like
but it's true. It's always a good idea to like show your interests and obviously close to what you are in your actual life, and your real life. But yeah, it's a very good idea. Maybe if you're into nature, like a picture hiking, or I don't know, if you're like a person that really likes working out, maybe a picture running or in the gym. I don't know, if you like reading, maybe like a picture with a book, but in a natural way. But something that aligns with your interests. But don't make it tacky. Make it look natural.
Gym and you're just in the gym, with your shirt off, showing off your muscles, you're probably going to freak out a few potential great matches on the apps.
The second thing is one that you probably are all going to agree with me, is because there are so many frogs. You're going to probably be with so many bad guys. You're going to go through
like
so
frogs.
many bad
What?
dates, so many
Is that
heartbreaks.
I was like, is it an Australian thing? They have a thing with frogs, as in with fishes?
Please don't give up. It happens to the best of us. It happens to
Yeah,
everybody.
of course. There's
So
like
you
very
might-
few people that get to say like, I met my match, like I don't know, in high school, or I just dated like this one person and we ended up getting married. Like that's like the 1% of the population. So obviously you're gonna like date around, and there's gonna be a lot of like bad dates, and you're going to meet a lot of people that are really not worth it, but that's part of the process. You have to like look around in order to find something that you actually, someone that you actually like. But yeah, there's a lot of frogs.
Might go for so many dates, but at the end of the day, as much as like people always bash Tinder about being just a hookup site, I have friends who've actually found their life partners on Tinder.
100%.
See what I mean? Like there's a lot of people that actually end up getting married, and they met through Tinder. So it's not just it's not just a hookup app.
Can be used for whatever it is that you want. If you just want to hook up with people, you can use it.
Of course, and that's also
people that's
valid. But
connected.
as long as both partners and people are into that same thing, perfect. Ideally, you should also find someone that, if you're into hooking up, someone that's also into hooking up. The problem is when those interests are not aligned. So whatever it is that you're looking for, just make sure that the other person is also looking for what you are looking for as well. If you're into something casual, then make sure that person is also into something casual and it's not looking for anything serious. But if you are looking for something serious, like try not to hook up with someone or people that are just into something casual.
If you want to use it to find decent human beings, you can also do that. It's up to you. Really, right? So she was talking about frogs, right? So I think this is an analogy of kissing a frog and he'll turn into a prince. But obviously there's a lot of people you kiss and they don't turn into princes. So bad eggs, right? People that you go on dates with, you don't click with, and you think, oof, waste of my time. That's the game. right? That's the game. I remember someone telling me that for guys, dating is like fishing. You want as many hooks in the water as you can because it's a numbers game. It sounds horrible when you say it that way. But I think the message was more, you need to effectively give yourself as many opportunities as possible to meet
you have to, like, if you're looking for something, like, you have to, like, play the game, and you have to try, don't put, like, all your eggs in one basket. It's sort of like that same, I think it's coming from that place.
So that you can meet the right woman for you, right? Obviously, if you're just going out there and you date a single person and the first person you date, you're just like, oh, well, we kind of get along, let's get married. That's a bad idea, right? You want to have dated 100 people, whatever the number is.
Not always, so because like I said, some people just like meet their match in just one date and they know, but that tends to happen. Like, it does, like, few cases, but it does happen.
Of what is out there, what people are like, what you want in someone, what you enjoy, what you click with. And again, that isn't to say sleep with every single person that you go on a date with. It's to say get to know people.
If that's what you're looking for and that's what you want, then, if that's what both of you want, then that's valid too.
And go on a date without hooking up with people, even as a guy. There are plenty of guys, including myself, where I went on dates and the ultimate goal was to get to know the person that I was on a date with. It wasn't to bring them home that night after the first date.
Whatever you say.
Yeah, again, it really does depend on what you're looking for.
There are those kinds of people out there, but you just have to get good at sifting them out. And obviously, it's a numbers game. When you're looking for your partner, if you're going to be using dating sites or dating apps, you need to get into the habit of obviously dating, or at least communicating with lots of different people to get an idea of what suits you, the kind of person you're looking for that is going to make an amazing life partner. Anyway, rant over.
Just go from one day to another and just keep putting your best foot forward. The other thing that I've also realized with online dating is that don't ensure that your radius is quite small. Say that maybe a 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or max maybe 20 minutes drive. I know sometimes girls do this. If they're not finding cute guys or guys that they like within a small radius, they start to expand their radius to 30 minutes drive or 40.
Yeah, I don't think, it's gonna be, because are you gonna, like, date long distance? Like, that's, it's hard, and that's not what a lot of people are looking for. So that's probably not the best idea.
Seriously, and then you complain about never meeting the guy because at the first place they're gonna think of it as a chore. Who wants to drive for a freaking 1 hour for one day?
Depends how well you get along with the person, I think. If it were me and I had really clicked with someone, I would probably have driven 30 minutes, 40 minutes to go see them, right? I guess on a first date it might be different. You may be willing to put in less.
Yeah, I think it depends on, like, how much effort, but if you don't really know the person, like, it's probably going to be less likely, and they're probably going to choose, like, someone that's, closer to them, because that's the kind of effort that you really put on something, on a relationship. If you really know what you're getting into, and you really like the person and you want to invest in that relationship, maybe you're like, yeah, you know what, I don't mind, like, driving 45 minutes to see them. But if it's a new thing and you don't really know them, it's going to be a harder sell.
Effort, but it just depends. If you get to know them before you go on the date, by chatting to them and you hit it off, man, give it a whirl. Just drive a little bit. But yeah, obviously her point is that the further away they live, the more it's going to be a bit of a drain, right? If they're 4 hours away and you see them every other month.
If they're 4 hours away, then I think the chances are that's not going to be a relationship that's going to prosper, because unless it's an actual established relationship and they decide to move the thing, because of, like, life circumstances, and they're going to be like, we're going to do long distance. Well, that's valid, of course, but it's an established relationship and it was something that they chose to do as a couple. But if you're just, like, dating in a casual way and you don't really know where this is going, it's gonna be harder to be like, hey, I'm 4 hours away, so do we meet in the middle? Probably that's probably gonna be, like, the best choice. It's like, let's meet in the middle. I drive 2 hours, you drive 2 hours, and we'll meet there.
You could go and see five minutes away.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Yeah.
So just keep your radius short and keep looking, and make sure your profile speaks a lot about you. You have words that are short and yet very well detailed in regards to explaining your personality.
Oh man, I have such a good point that I need to bring up here. This is something that was a pet hate of mine. A real pet hate of mine. Not every woman does this, and in fact, the majority of women don't do this. But this was something that I would encourage women not to do. Don't put in your description a list of criteria that you need for the successful applicant who's going to go on a date with you, right? If you start saying things like, hey, I'm looking for my Prince Charming and I want him to be 6 foot tall, he needs to have...
I think it's a bit weird, but it also gives you vibes of like, I'm looking for it's like job application, and you have to like list everything that I don't know, like not likes and dislikes, but it's like a job application, and it sort of kills the vibe, right?
Abs. He needs to have, a steady job with an income of over $100,000
That's
a year.
weird.
Oh, that's gross.
Just, don't do that. Even if that's the case, even if those are things that you need, don't advertise that openly, because it would be like guys saying, I need a supermodel who, has a PhD and has a job that's blah, 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 blah. Don't put those sorts of things on there, because it's really grinding, and it just puts things on the wrong foot right from the get-go, right? That there's all
Yeah,
these
I agree. It's kind of weird. Don't do that. It kills the vibe.
conditions that you need ticked before you'll even give someone a chance to get to know them. So yeah. That's my little thing there. But I saw that so often that women would have all of these, you need to be this, you need to be this, you need to be this, you need to be this. Sometimes there'd be lists of like 20 things, and you'd just be like, why am I even going to bother? What are my chances?
Again, it's like you're looking for a job, and then you see like they want this and this and that. I'm like, I'm not even going to bother to apply. It's a big company. Like, no, it's out of my league.
To be fair, I've only dated women. So women who are watching this, comment below, what are the do's and don'ts for guys? Because one thing I can assure you, the number of things that irritated me about women's profiles on these sorts of dating apps, I can almost be certain there will be 10 times the number of don'ts.
Yeah, for us women, that are into guys, it's a lot. But again, obviously it's like from his perspective. So yeah, it's gonna be a little unbalanced, or it's gonna look a little unbalanced, because he's just coming from like a man's perspective. But I get what he means. Like, it's okay. Like, from the other side, there's also a lot of things that bother us. So it's okay.
Guys, right? Appearing with your shirt off in your first photo, holding a fish, being out with the boys, having drinks and getting wasted.
I can with the fish.
Guys, don't do that. Don't do that either. I mean, yeah, who am I? I'm not the dating guru. This is just my 2 cents, okay? And obviously, I'd likes.
This is probably based on my second point, whereby I say that you're going to kiss so many frogs, there'll be so many bad dates, is please don't make online dating your only primary source of dates. Because a lot of girls are like, oh, I hear it all the time with my friends. I have no time to go out. I don't have time to go meet guys anywhere else. So I'm solely relying on online dating. And then you start to get desperate. And I'm telling you, guys can sense desperation
from a mile
away.
I'd say women can sense it. It's like blood in the water for sharks.
Ooh.
Right? I don't know if that's a good analogy, right? Because you're running away from it, you're not coming towards it. But I would say that women can definitely sense desperation. So again, guys, tone it down.
So just make sure that you out there, go to the gym, go for a walk, go for nature, join a book club, just do other activities that you love, and be open-minded to meeting people in those areas.
Yeah, that's a very good advice too. Like, don't put all your eggs in one basket. Even if you're like on dating sites, don't really close yourself to just meeting people online. Like, go meet people in real life too. Like, that's always a good idea. And don't close yourself. I think that's probably the most important. Be really open-minded, and even if you don't really think that you're gonna meet someone, maybe it happens. I mean, when you're least expecting it, you're gonna meet like the love of your life. So it happens.
that it has to be just online dating, because I hear my friends, they're single but they don't want to meet guys anywhere else. It has to be online dating, or when they go to work out they have their earphones on. I think it's time we stopped wearing our earphones, especially if you're single. Just be there, be present, make sure that if somebody wants to make a conversation with you, please speak back to them, smile. You can meet guys.
Yeah, of course. Like if you see someone that, you like, I'm attracted to this person, like he looks, he looks attractive, and he's, starting a conversation, or even it comes from you, you see, you're walking around and you're getting coffee, I don't know, and you see someone that you like, maybe like strike up a conversation, like you don't know where it's going to go. So, I think you have to be like maybe more social, maybe that's the word. And you have to like lose, a little bit of that social anxiety and that, yeah, I don't know, like those nerves, just like strike up a conversation. Like, what's the worst that could happen? Like, they're gonna turn you down, but because you're not really gonna do anything, you're just gonna strike up a conversation. Like, you're not gonna go overboard and be like, hey, wanna get married? Obviously, no. But just, like if you see someone attractive, just, start a conversation. Like, it's not gonna be a big deal. It's just, people talking. It happens all the time, whatever. It doesn't really matter. So that's always a good advice.
There's a good point that she makes here. I think a big thing about dating today is that people go towards the internet and all these apps because it's just easy, right? There's no face-to-face. You can kind of...
Yeah, but again, that comes from, I think a lot of people have a lot of like social anxiety these days. And because a lot of our lives actually happen like online and on the internet, I think we're losing a little bit of that, person to person and face to face communication in our daily lives, because so much of our lives just happens online that I think it's really easy to just fall out of it, or maybe enter into the habit of I'm not really like socializing on real life and seeing people like on my daily life. So it's really easy to get in that sort of like routine where all of your socializing and all your lives are happening online and through a screen. So it's really easy to just get lost in that. Like she said, for instance, like you always have your earphones on, like you're going for a walk, but you still have your AirPods. So it's like, well, yeah, and everything just happens like on a phone, on a screen. And you're not like seeing like daily contact, daily human contact, actual physical contact, or, you're actually seeing someone like standing right next to you. So it's really easy to fall into that habit of just, everything happening through a screen. And it's quite sad, I think. We can't really lose that. I mean, obviously the internet is great, but you can't really like fall into that because like he said, it's very easy. Like it gets easier. Like I'm just going to grab my phone and I can like talk to anyone. But it's harder, obviously, to like I said, striking up a conversation like on a coffee shop, or you're waiting in line for something and you're gonna be like, oh my God, what do I say to this person? But I think we're losing a little bit of that these days. And I think probably older generations didn't really have that problem because they didn't really have the internet. But it's something that we really can't lose completely. Like the internet is great, obviously. But, we can't really lose that as well. You have to like, and make yourself, if you're like, I'm so scared of, striking up a conversation with someone, you have to like baby steps and just, get used to it and ease into it. And like I said, people are not going to reject you. People, if you try to like, I don't know, even just like coming about the weather, like make small talk. People are not going to like reject you outright. Like people are not that rude in real life. Usually.
People and then just get rid of them and they're out of your life forever. You're never going to see them. But you end up, if you're only relying on that, you end up removing all these other opportunities to meet and get to know people in the real world, where you do have amazing opportunities to get to know people really well face to face, whether it is at the gym, doing social activities at clubs, just going out with friends and being open to having conversations with strangers, right? I remember I've asked out, when I was younger, I'd asked out quite a few people that I met at cafes and just struck up a conversation with them, whether they were working at the cafe, whether they were also at the cafe getting coffee or at the restaurant, whatever it was. I ended up just making small talk with someone and then hitting it off and then saying in the conversation, oh, would you ever like to catch up again? Do you have Facebook or can I give you my number?
Oh, wait.
Can I get your number?
And if they said yes, there you go. You've just met someone that you have sort of vetted and found out that they're normal human beings, and you can go out and get to know, and who knows, could be your life partner. So yeah, it's the same with making friends, I think.
Yeah,
a lot of the
because
time
not always it's gonna be like it's gonna be a romantic thing, but maybe it ends up being like a friendship, and that's great. Friends are great, so it's a good way if you're feeling a little bit like, oh, I don't know how to like meet new people. Like that's a perfect opportunity.
Meet people in Australia. A big part is just socializing, and like that analogy with hooks in the water before for dating, it's the same thing with finding friends. You just need to be making sure that you're coming into contact with loads of different people in your day-to-day life, because you're not going to be friends with everyone, but 1 in 100 people is probably going to be a real keeper.
You're gonna find someone that from you, if you meet maybe 50 people, maybe at least like 5 are going to be worth it and you're going to be compatible. So it's okay. But like I said, if you're like, you only have to take like a little step and that's it.
To keep her.
That you can make, a very, very, very good friend. But if you're only coming into contact with a handful of people a week, your chances are much lower. So
yeah, you have to go
socialize,
out,
get to know people, make small talk.
And for example, myself, I actually met my husband. I was on online dating, but we didn't meet through our online site. We actually met at uni. Okay,
there you go.
So we were in the library, and I was doing my thing, and he said hi. Then we bumped into each other. Another day, we went for a coffee, then a coffee, a dinner, and 5 years down the line, now we're married. So
I love her. She's like, we were in the library and then like we're married. And like it happens like right there. It happened in a second. Obviously not. But
guys everywhere. The other thing, and probably this is one of the most important thing, is guys, please be safe. We've all seen in the news people getting kidnapped, people having really weird experiences, even being, killed or something of that sort.
I mean, those are kind of the scare stories, right? Imagine how many interactions there are in terms of dating on a day-to-day basis, and then every year or two you do hear these horror stories of someone being murdered or killed, generally the woman. So again, 100%, be safe. My advice here with dating people, especially for first dates, and even I did this, is go to a cafe during the day. Try to avoid going out at night if you can, especially if you're a woman. I mean, I know it's one of those things that's kind of like, either you're going to say, oh, no, duh, Pete, or you're going to say, I'm a feminist. Don't you tell me what to do. I'm a single.
No, it doesn't have to do with anything. And feminism doesn't really have anything to do with that. But I think all women are very aware of that and are very aware of their safety, usually. And I mean women because, statistics don't lie, and usually it's the woman that's in danger in these situations. But yeah, I think that's always a good advice. Meet at first, meet in public places and, have your location turned on. Tell friends, like, I'm going out with this person and, we're in this place, and, always like check out, or keep checking in with your friends or family members or whatever, but make sure they know who you are, especially in those first, few dates where you really have to like get to know the person. And that's a good advice, actually. Don't go out at night, or at least not in because you obviously like maybe go out to dinner, like it's going to happen at night, but maybe in like public places, and just feel it out. But it's always going to be a risk, of course.
And blah blah blah. All right, but again, it's about being safe. You don't know these people that you're meeting up with, and especially if you're the woman and they're the guy. So yeah, I would say go out during the day if possible, or at least, during the daytime. Go somewhere where there's loads of people. So, it's probably not the best idea to agree to go on a road trip and have the person drive off wherever you into the woods, especially.
Honestly, it's gonna be like a weird thing. Like, imagine someone like you're in a first date and someone's like, "Oh, I have a great idea. Let's meet up. Road trip. I'll drive." What? Like, I don't know you. Like, who would say like, "Yes, it sounds fantastic. Let's go."
And agree to a short period of time. Make it an hour or half an hour, and have a plan to finish early, so that if you don't get along really well, you do have an out, and you can bail. But yeah, as you obviously build your relationship and get to know the person, then you can take it further and further and further and do other things. But that was something I always did. There were a few times that women I matched with on Tinder were like, "Hey, just come over tonight," and I was always really wary of that. I never, ever went to someone's house randomly after matching with them, even as a guy, because I was like, how do I know who this person is behind these photos talking to me? It could be this huge guy who has a fetish for bald dudes.
Yeah, you can get catfish. That's also a risk because, like I said, there's always a risk in dating online. So you have to, like, it takes a lot of like instinct and just like measure how I don't know. You just have to feel it out at the end of the day and see if you get good vibes or if you're like, no, actually this sounds like something that's giving me bad vibes, so I'm not gonna go there. So you have to feel it out.
What do I know? So there's no chance that I'm just going to some person's house at 8 p.m. at night when I've never met them because they're like, hey, you look really hot. Let's hook up. Ugh. It was always, yeah, how about we go get coffee somewhere tomorrow at lunchtime, see how we go, and maybe if things go well in a few weeks or whatever, we can end up getting together. I don't know why I'm doing that. Anyway.
So the number one rule that I tell everybody before you go for a date, make sure to tell your friend, make sure to tell somebody that you're close to. Don't keep it a secret. Everybody, please, in this day and age, everybody knows that people go for dates. So make sure you share your partners or whoever you're meeting, their name, their contact, and their location. Okay, so those things are so important anytime you go for a date. As much as this guy, you've been talking to him for like ages, you never know.
See, yeah, that's great advice. Like I said, share your location and make sure you tell someone where you are and like, I'm with this person and we're gonna be at this place. Especially the first few times when you're still getting to know that person, face to face. And like she said, it doesn't matter if you've been like talking with this guy for like, oh, we've been talking for like 2 months. No, it doesn't really matter. You still have to like share a location and make sure someone knows who you are and where you are with this new guy.
Trips have disguised into very good looking people, so just make sure you're safe.
Yeah, there are some psychos out there, man. So be 100% careful. Both women and men, there are psychos. What else was I going to say? I guess to finish up here, I really like Adlikey's channel. Go check it out, guys. I had a look at some of the other videos on her channel here. Adlikey Down Under. She talks about life in Australia and a bunch of these kinds of topics. So go check it out. But besides that, with dating, yeah, I think, to sum it up, if you're in the dating market currently and you're having a bit of trouble, the sort of takeaway here is obviously, apart from be safe, get to know a lot of different people. You don't have to rush into things. You don't need to feel like you need to go home with someone and get straight to the sex part. If you feel that kind of pressure, it's probably a bad sign and things probably aren't going to go.
Of course. Consent comes first. If you're not really, again, if you're into it, then yeah, sure. And the other person is into it, of course. But if you're feeling sort of pressured or you feel like, I feel like I have to, like maybe that's not a good idea and, maybe back off. But, like I said, it has to be something that both people want and make sure that everyone's on the same page. I think at the end of the day, everything comes down to both people being on the same page.
Very well for very long with that person. So again, make sure that you click with them. And if you get that kind of pressure from anyone, whether you're a guy or a girl, to, come straight over and do
No, if you don't want to, like, please don't do that. Yeah, whether you're a boy or a girl, if you're feeling some sort of pressure or you feel like I have to do something, like, no, that's a bad idea. Please don't.
And say no, 100%. My old housemate, I don't know how he managed this, but he used to go out 5 times a week with 5 different girls and always be bringing home 2 or 3 of them a week. And I would just be mind blown at the number of women who had just met him that day, even though he was a relatively nice guy and obviously wasn't going to harm them. But I was just mind blown at the number of women who would just appear at my house that had never met any of us and had only met him that day and were just like, yeah, sure, I'll come over and stay the night. Mind blowing. So again, obviously it's your life.
Different, yeah. Everyone's different.
Be safe. Yeah, so that's it for today, guys. Go and check out Adlike's channel, Adlike Down Under. She's got great videos talking about different aspects of Australian life. She's a migrant herself. I think she's living over in Western Australia. She's married an Australian, I believe. So there may be some really good content here that is useful for you. And then redating, again, just be safe. You can use these kinds of apps, but set up your expectations. If you don't want to use them for hooking up with people randomly, you don't have to do that, right? Use them to be an extension of your social life where you can meet people you otherwise wouldn't normally meet and you can get to know them, right? So that's it from me, guys. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to keep learning about Australian culture, go check out this one over here, and I'll see you next time. Bye.
Yeah, I think those are pretty good tips. And like they said, yeah, I agree with everything he said, you know, just like, and also what she said. You have to really like, you know, be careful, set your expectations to something that's, you know, manageable. And also just try to not close down, you know, like I'm gonna meet my new like boyfriend, husband, whatever it is that you are looking for, like my new partner in life. I'm gonna meet them like on Tinder, on Bumble, or on eHarmony, or in whatever dating site that is that you're currently in. It doesn't really have to be like that. Don't close yourself. Socialize more, and dating apps are more of an add-on to something that to your life, and not just your life. Like make sure that they're not the only path, because it's not the only path. Yeah, so that was really interesting, and make sure, and of course, you know, consent comes first, guys, and take care always. But that was it for today, and I'll see you next time. Bye.